In the living room, we're gonna talk about just about everything. In the living room, hiding from it is no longer a choice. In the living room, we're gonna talk about just about everything.
Hey everyone, this is Durante Smith. This is In the Living Room, Conversations for the Grown and Professional. And today with me I have two beautiful co-hosts. I'll allow the ladies to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Nicole Langlois. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I've lived in Atlanta for over 20 years. I am single with no children.
And I'm Jill Collins. I've been in Atlanta for more than 22 years. I'm originally from Peoria, Illinois. I'm in my mid-30s. I have a 14-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter.
Guys, today's show and what really the living room is all about is really it's sort of in-your-face forum for this just open up dialogue and discussion centered around today's climate with relationships and I think the different things that we're all experiencing and going through. I've known both of these young ladies. We've had some really poignant dialogue and conversation, and it's sort of prompted what I wanted to be a sort of a platform, if you will, for just a dialogue in our own personal relationships in our lives. So kind of get straight into it. Today's topic is on single, independent, professional women and the pride that comes with that. And understanding both of you ladies are professionals.
Right.
So first, let me ask you, Nicole, what do you feel is the problem that you experience as a professional woman on the dating scene? How does that play into your dating selectivity?
Problem is a strong word. I think if we're all honest with each other, a lot of people will acknowledge that they've met some really good people in their lifetime.
Okay.
Timing perhaps wasn't right, or perhaps they were immature, or I may look back at some situations myself and honestly acknowledge the fact that I didn't make good choices.
Okay, got you. And Jill, what would you say?
I would say problem, the word problem is a very broad term. I don't really have a problem being single, independent, and proud. It's more a timing issue. Time or lack thereof is my biggest issue in dating in Atlanta.
Okay, so as a professional woman, okay, I know you're a realtor.
Yes.
And you're also a realtor.
Exactly.
Okay, ironically, you guys do the same field, right? You're both very attractive ladies, right? So I use the word problem because I look at it like this. I shoot it straight. Okay, there's too many of you all like you all out there,
Sure.
right? Meaning that there are too many attractive women in Atlanta and other parts of the country as well that have it going on, that have, they've got their stuff together, right? And they're having problems, problems trying to find that significant other. I know we had a little discussion earlier. Jill, you said you have no preference or really don't care to date someone in the perspective of getting married. And Nicole, you have a different viewpoint of that. So if you would elaborate on that for me, Nicole, about why you feel you would or would not necessarily worried about getting married this time, or you'd rather be married, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've dated for 20 years, and I've waited my entire life to have children. So
Okay.
I'm a little bit more a traditionalist, and
Okay.
I would prefer to be married before I started a family, as opposed to doing it on my own.
Okay.
That's just kind of my personal view. But it's a lot of women out there that are very progressive, and it really doesn't matter. They don't need to have that formal traditional upbringing. They're more modern. They have really high incomes, and they know that they can take care of a child themselves. They don't necessarily need someone to facilitate that, except for the obvious, of course. What do you think, Jill?
I had my kids when I was younger. I am a college graduate. I don't really have a reason to get married at this point in my life unless it's the right person at the right time. I would beg to differ. I believe there are a lot of women who aren't married or aren't with somebody special because of choice. I think there are a lot of great men on the market and available. I know a lot of them personally. I just choose not to date them. So I believe that if I wanted to be married, I could be. I know
Okay.
a lot of great men.
Okay. Now that's an interesting point. And the reason why I say that is because, okay, I have a younger sister. She's 5 years younger than me, so she's approaching mid-30s. Okay, her friends of mine like you all, as I mentioned earlier, right? And let's just be 100% truthful. What we hear in the daily context of this conversation is there aren't enough good men on the market, which is what everyone hears, which we say is typical, right? Or B, maybe too many of them there's a lot of guys on the DL or that have moved over into that whole space, right? Or the rest of them they're dogs, they're cheaters, they're married, but they're wanting to be single, act as though they're single, right?
Sure.
So I mean, we all have heard that. We heard it on all the top talk shows and the books and all this other stuff. So and you say, Jill, you know an abundance of these guys.
I do.
I would dare say the ladies in the viewing audience would want to know, where are these guys located?
They're everywhere. But
everywhere? Are they at the gas station?
I would
They're
tell
still?
you they are everywhere. You
Okay.
just have to be willing to open your eyes and see it. There's a problem in the city of Atlanta where everybody's looking for who do you know or who can you put me up on? They're climbing a dating ladder
Okay.
instead of being
A dating ladder. That's
a dating ladder
Okay.
instead of the corporate ladder, and instead of being confident and comfortable with somebody on their own level, their
Okay.
own peer group, they're always looking for somebody who's making more money, has a nicer job, a nicer car.
Okay.
I think we know a lot of great men out there if you just open your eyes and see them from the inside out.
In the living room.
Let's look at it from this angle, Nicole. What then are the criteria that you look at to help you determine whether or not someone is of dating quality for you, dating material?
I am a little unique in the sense of I'm looking for someone with a really good sense of humor, someone who's stable, professional. Professional, not necessarily. I'm kind of open to that, but someone who is mature. You could be 50 or 60 years old and still run around, chasing 20-year-olds. So a man that's mature and he knows what he wants, and we're kind of on the same page. That's very important to me.
Okay,
I need to jump
wait.
in and add something to
All
that,
right,
though.
go ahead.
I'll tell you, and this is some advice that I received from an older gentleman here in town who was very successful, and he knew me well. He was more of a mentor than anything else. And he said, Jill, because a lot of women in Atlanta find success relatively early at a younger age, he said, you need to date somebody who's had success,
Older.
who has experienced having money, and who knows what it's like. Otherwise, if they just now find it, they're going to want to exploit it and exploit the women around them, and are more likely to cheat.
Right.
So I find that when I prefer to date older men
Okay.
because they have experienced some success.
What's older?
5, 10, I would go 15 years older.
20, 25?
Oh boy.
Granddaddy.
What's the oldest guy you've ever dated?
Maybe 15 years older
Okay.
than me.
Okay.
But I do find that a guy who's older has experienced his own success.
Sure.
He hopefully has kids. From my vantage point, I want somebody who has children of his own because I don't want to have any more. But I also find that they're more stable. They're not looking to chase everything that runs by.
Sure.
What is it then are your criteria for getting beyond first base? And we discussed first base means different things to different people. To me, first base is, and I consider myself relatively conservative in respect of dating, but first base is a kiss, right? So we understand you got the kiss. Now, what takes it beyond that? And let's clarify if that's first base for you. That might be first base and a half, But so what, Nicole? What is your criteria for getting past first base? These guys are interested. They're sitting looking like, hey, this is an attractive young lady. I mean,
Here's the thing.
chocolate going on, hair laid.
It's not necessarily my
Talk to me, what's
opinion.
up?
It's not my opinion of first base. It's first base out on the street, because that's the reality of the world that we're dealing with. I am a little bit more traditional. So a couple dates is going to take a kiss for me for first base. But I have a lot of single friends out there, a lot of single male friends, and I found that after a good first date on the initial night that they've met some young ladies out there,
That's right.
they get to fourth, fifth, they get the home run.
They hit on
That
one.
same night,
That's
it's
right.
home run city. So,
That's right.
you know, it's kind of like having a concept of what's really going on in Atlanta, in the world out there for single
it's all-
females today.
yeah.
I'm okay. I'm comfortable with your definition of first base. I haven't thought about that in, gosh, maybe 20 years now, hopefully maybe longer, 30 years. But I will tell you, first base, second base, third base, going out on the first date is tough enough. If we've had enough dialogue and conversations to where I'm comfortable going out on a date, I'm okay with kissing on the first date.
Okay.
But it takes a lot. It's a lot harder to get the first date than it is maybe say to get the first kiss.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. This is something else, guys. That you're gonna understand me when I say this. All right. So we're okay. First of all, let me first say and clarify, guys, ladies, the club is not the appropriate place to meet your significant other. I'm sorry. Chances are, if you meet a lady in the club, in the quote unquote club, she might be attracted to the club life. So when you try to take her to settle, to move her into this lane of settling down, you find that's not the space that she operates well in. That's been my personal experience.
Sure.
What's different between that and a gas station or that in the grocery store? I have a girlfriend who married her husband she met him in the club. And
How long ago was
They've been
that?
married about 6 years now.
Okay.
Are they divorced?
No, they're still together. They're very
Okay.
happy, have a baby.
Yeah, okay.
But you're a great guy. You're a great woman. I'm sure you've gone to the club once in your lifetime. You could have met
Sure.
somebody else who was also
Sure.
a great person there, and it just happens to work.
What's
So-
different, right? What's different is most of the time the people, I'm not saying all, and I'm not saying that people that go to the clubs are bad people. I've done my share of clubs, certainly, okay? But the point being is most of the people in the club scene aren't serious minded. So therefore, you have to understand the context in which you meet them, those people. They aren't really going there for some sort of long-term commitment or to find people with long-term commitment. It's more of, especially now, the clubs now have really evolved to a point of where it's really about getting in, kind of hitting it and quitting it. You know what I mean? It's a short, but I'm giving you the perspective from a guy. This is how we think. Now let me just take it all the way on out there. Okay, if we're in a club and I meet you and I'm intoxicated, my thought is not about dating you. I'm being blunt. It's not.
Right.
Okay, my thought is for most guys, most meaning 80%, 70% of the guys go to the club. If they're sitting there, they're having conversation, heaven forbid they're buying you drinks. If they're buying you drinks, understand they are in their minds buying you, meaning buying that experience with
Sure.
you. Understand that. Now, you all, I think, are mature enough to understand that, but there are a lot of women out here that aren't. You guys think, well, I'm gonna play this dude, I'm gonna get this drink, whatever, and then you wonder why, this guy's handling you and he's harassing you, he's all over you, because he feels like he's bought your time.
I know women on both sides of the fence. Women, me in particular, I would much rather pay for my own drink.
Hallelujah.
Because I don't want to have to give you my phone number. I don't want to have
Right.
to engage you any longer than I want to unless I want to.
Right.
But I know other girlfriends who will play a guy and get as many drinks and feel no guilt
Right.
and no obligation and keep it moving.
Right.
In the living room.
The question you asked me was, what's the difference? Well,
Yes.
I'll take it a step further. I'll say even in the context of church, you say, what's the difference in meeting someone in church versus the club, right? I hate to say this, but understand the church, I hope I'm not offending anyone, but the church these days, a lot of the churches are more about fashion than they are about necessarily the spirituality or the religion. That being said, if you meet someone in church under the wrong context, it's still about the context. A lot of guys, I'm telling you, now I'm telling you what the conversations I have with my guy friends. We're sitting there, I'm talking to my cousin, he's in Kentucky. I'm talking to my cousin, he's in Illinois. I'm talking to my best friend, he's in Nashville, right? They go to church. Ladies come out with your girls hanging out, okay? We understand what we're saying. Ladies come out, you got, skirts up to here, what looks like, you're ready to go to the club.
Well, that's the only way some women can get attention. So they go out and they show their assets because
Their
that's
assets,
they
thank you.
they know that in a regular attire they're not going to attract as much attention, and they're trying to get attention. That's the aim when they go out.
But so I'm saying the difference in the church setting versus the club setting versus meeting somebody at a gas station or a grocery store, it really, in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter, but it does. I mean, I personally, I'm not one that I subscribe to the whole thought of meeting a guy at the church is the best place. I don't really believe that.
There is
I'm
no
just,
particular best place, There is no
But
particular
I will
best
tell you
place.
guys this. If you ask me where are the hidden spots, I'd say the grocery store.
Right.
I would say the bookstore, right?
Right.
That's where my wife and I met. I say that because chances are if you meet someone, you meet a guy at the grocery store and he's actually shopping for more than bologna and crackers, chances are he has some sort of stability or some sort of, some sort of responsibility, if you will, right? You meet a guy at the bookstore, odds are that he has some sort of intellect or some sort of, something going on beyond
Right.
just, clubbing and whatever. You know what I mean?
Do you know that
So-
saying opposites attract? I don't buy that as far as dating is concerned. I think it attracts initially, but I think you have to have a lot of commonality to stay together. So I do agree that the bookstore, I also believe that if you were to go to nonprofits, fundraisers,
yeah,
people
yeah.
who have the same heart
Sure,
to give as you do,
sure.
you'll find like-minded people.
Yeah, that's a good place.
That's a good point.
So those to me are the places where I recommend meeting people. The grocery store. Now, one guy did check out my cart. He said he looked for Fruit Loops and Fruity Pebbles, and he didn't see any in my cart, so he assumed I had no kids.
Wow.
And he wasn't disappointed, but he thought he was dating a single woman, a truly single woman.
Okay. Single, independent, professional women tend to get a bad rap, right? I say that meaning from a societal perspective, for expecting too much in the relationships, but in turn bringing too much baggage, right? Why is that? Why do you feel that is? And then what can you ladies do as you're experiencing and have better dating experiences?
I will say, because I have children, because I'm used to doing everything on my own, it takes a very strong male character to come in to my life.
Okay.
If I find that I'm still the driver while I have somebody in my life, I tend to feel like I don't need somebody. If I'm going to still have to make all of the decisions regarding everything, I might as well be single. So from my perspective, it would be a lot easier, or what I should work on, pulling back a little bit, being a little bit more feminine, and less assertive and aggressive. But it comes with the territory when you're single and you have responsibilities, from household responsibilities to children.
Okay. Nicole?
Well, I think independent women get a bad rap because they have a lot of the material things that people desire and they aspire to have in life, but they don't have that connection. They don't have that relationship that they secretly desire. And the reality of the situation is so many people have been just emotionally bankrupt. They've been in relationships, they've been hurt, and they just don't want to take that chance again.
Emotionally bankrupt. I like that.
Yeah, so it's just really difficult for them to open up and trust again.
And you're saying this is your experience dealing with women, or
With
females that you know,
with-
or men as well?
Well, I've lived here for 20 years. The majority of my clients are single females,
Okay.
and they make, everybody likes to use the term six figures, but they make a great income, live in a 4 or 5 bedroom home alone, no children. And so really all they're looking for in their life is a companion. However, the dating scene for them is just so exhausting that they give up. They're not interested. They're not interested in going through the emotional tug of war, the emotional tsunami that's involved with the dating world. So they would rather just work, be successful, make money, put their money in the bank, go home and relax and spend time with their family.
That's interesting. So from a married guy's perspective, let's say this. My female friends excluding you two, I'm not going to throw you two in the mix, right? But my female friends that I know who are doing well, are succeeding, there's a certain set of expectations that single women that have these things, as you said, that is preventing them from advancing forward and experiencing what could really be out there for them. So let me say, for example, you mentioned that it's not about, what a guy has, and you said, a guy doesn't necessarily have to be professional, but is that because you've gotten to this point in your life, and when you were 29 or 30, that, you didn't have that same perspective?
It just depends. It just depends on where a woman is in her life.
Okay.
I've had a lot of great dating experiences. I pull a lot of my thoughts from people's real life experiences. I have a lot of single friends as well. And I have a lot of male friends. So I actually prefer talking to my male friends more frequently because the women, to be quite honest with you, they're delusional. They do not have a realistic expectation of where they are, what the dating world is like, because they very rarely date. A lot of my friends are abstinent, and they've not been in a physical relationship with someone 2-3 years.
Right.
That's a whole nother topic. We can talk about that another time. But you don't know how to interact with a person when you've been off the market for so long.
Right.
So women are still looking for the Tyler Perrys. They still want the Michael Vicks.
Right.
That's not realistic for you at that phase in your life. Maybe 20 years ago you could have had a Michael Vick or one of these top celebrities or athletes, but they're still looking for that dream. And it's like, when are women going to wake up and realize, I'm here, I'm great, I'm vibrant, I need to start making some adjustments. I need to have a reality check, a come to Jesus meeting with myself,
right,
so I can get out here in the dating world and just be happy interacting with someone. It may not be my husband, it may not be my boyfriend, just to be able to have a good time and develop a friendship with someone.
That goes back to what I said earlier, that the men we're looking for, they're right before our eyes.
Yeah.
They really are. I have a guy friend who does landscaping and lawn maintenance, and I'm sure he would be passed over by most women. But when they find out he makes about 22 grand a month from landscaping and cutting grass, a lot of people would then reconsider.
Right.
I think our priorities are a little off. And it takes us a minute to catch up as far as our age is concerned, to realize what really matters as you get older in dating and in interviewing for a spouse.
You think it's just to a certain extent maturity?
But I think a lot of it is Atlanta. I think Atlanta breeds that.
I think an awesome point.
Atlanta
People are too superficial. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how so many of my male friends, they want America's Next Top Model. They want the video vixen. You got to look like Beyonce. You got to look like Halle Berry, and you have to have a PhD.
Yeah.
So they're not going to take the regular girl. A lot of my male friends, they will tell me all the time. I say, hey, I got this great girl I want you to meet, and he goes, oh, no big girls.
Right.
So, sometimes you have to give a person a chance. We have this unrealistic fantasy world that we're living in, and it's like, when are people going to wake up?
Right.
In the living room.
Guys, I think what you've heard today is that the ladies are willing to give a different, you guys laughing at me, a different set of eyes, take another look, and I think they are willing to reconsider their positions. But I think a lot of it sounds to me that the guys have to have their house in order. I say that being a guy, okay? Conversely, ladies, I think what they're telling you is that, you have to be realistic about your own set of circumstances and what you're dealing with.
Stop looking for perfection.
Yeah, exactly. And
doesn't exist.
Nothing's perfect.
No.
You're not perfect. We're not perfect. The guy's not gonna be perfect. I heard I forgot who it was. Life Jennings said in his song, if you're a 5, why are you trying to find a 10? It's that kind of thing, right? But that all being said, what I hope the takeaway here is going to be, just look at things in a different light now, to understand that the person that you're looking for may not necessarily be the person that you think is going to be. It could be someone right in front of you that could be a great fit for you that isn't necessarily your quote unquote type.
In the living room.
What I'd like for you guys to do is to feel free to reach out to us. We're going to leave you with our personal contact information. Again, my name is Durante Smith. You can reach me at dlsmith@solarisfilmworks.net. Nicole, if you would provide them with your information.
Hi, you can reach me with any questions or comments at nicole100@gmail.com.
And Jill?
And I'm available at jill_collins@bellsouth.net.
All right, guys, we thank you so much. We hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time in the living room.